In this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly why you keep attracting low value women. Women who bring no value to your life whatsoever. Women who are frankly only good for a good time. But first, here's what you unfortunately have to remember, and that is the dating market is filled with low value women. I will argue about 70%. The other 30%, it's like finding a diamond in the rough, but it's not gonna be impossible. By the way, stay tuned for number 3 because this was a game changer for me. Now guys, the first thing you gotta remember is that life is simply a mirror, not a window. So you have to look at yourself and evaluate, am I a low value guy? Because if you are, you're simply going to attract low value women. So basically, you cannot signal any degree of low status or low value because that's what you're going to attract. You guys gotta remember, dating is literally like fishing, literally. If you're out there fishing in the pond with the bait you got from Walmart for $3, what are you going to attract? You're gonna attract the shitty ass fish. You're not gonna attract no big game, nice swordfish or whatever big game fish people catch. No, you're gonna catch whatever's in the backyard lake. So you cannot signal low value, and this comes into how you present yourself and also your communication. I'm telling you guys, if you're like super hood or even niche, you're more than likely gonna attract a lot of low value women because that's what you're showing off. And that's why I personally have never had the experience of attracting low value women, even though a lot of guys say that certain platforms or apps, you know, it's nothing but low value women, but I'm like, yo, that's never happened to me. But look how I'm presenting myself. I'm dressed nice, I'm wearing jewelry, I don't have like dreads or super niche hairstyles that sort of put me in a box of people. So just do understand, if you are gonna present yourself in that way, you're going to attract what you are. Now let's talk about communication. Communication is absolutely huge, and guys don't realize it. How you come off in terms of your words can actually be a form of what you're also attracting also. So a big thing with dating apps, even with real life approaching, is the words you decide to use. If you're using a lot of slang, if your vernacular isn't the best, if you don't speak proper English, as some people say, then you're just simply gonna attract women who are into that vibe. One thing I realized about my life is that I've always been told that I speak fairly properly, always, my whole entire life, especially around particular races. And they would tell me this, and I would always feel bad about myself because, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, man. I come from a very educated background, so I've always just learned how to speak this way. But when I came around certain people, they always almost shamed me for it. And that's where I realized too that even from a friendship standpoint, you know, kind of who you vibe and who you attract is very going to be similar to what you put out into the world. I wasn't friends with the cool kids in high school because where I went to school, the cool kids, they almost always had this sort of hood vibe to them, and girls loved it at the time. So I was friends with the nerds, so to speak, the geeks. You know, we were solving Rubik's Cubes at the lunch table. We were talking about math. Like, that's sort of what I was into. But looking back on it, you know, it has helped me a lot, not only from a professional standpoint, but also from a dating standpoint. I attract nothing but quality because I put myself into that of a person of quality who presents that in terms of my look and also my communication. So remember not to niche yourself down too much. We want to appeal to the widest demographic possible because the widest demographic is going to have the highest quality women possible. Also, I want you to think about your past relationships and how they started. Ask yourself, how did I attract this woman? Even if she was low value, high quality, whatever it may be, reverse engineer the process and try to see how exactly that happened. This is where I construct my full entire system, right? My digital Romeo blueprint. I've realized that I was getting the most success with women whenever I presented myself in this particular way. I said this particular thing. I took them through this particular process to set up the date, and I reverse engineer everything, and that's how I came to the conclusions that I'm having now. Now, let me also mention that a lot of this stuff really just comes with having standards for yourself. If you're a guy who has no standards, you're simply gonna fall to what those standards are. If you're swiping on 3s and 4s, overweight women, slow Tuesday night sort of girl, a girl you know you would never take seriously, but instead you decide to sneak her in, then of course you're never gonna attract high quality women because you're setting such a low standard for yourself. So it first starts off with looking in the mirror, seeing how you are as a person, and then increasing those standards. That way you have no choice but to deal with high quality women. Now up next, what you wanna do is signal higher class and competency. Higher class is a whole entire category in itself. yourself, but look at sort of this old money style. If you look at, that old money style or people within that sphere, you realize these people are really, really high class. And recently I've been watching this guy on TikTok. His name's Xavier, where he literally discusses how to be higher class and how to signal more higher class. And a lot of that comes to, once again, how we're presenting ourselves. You guys see I cut my hair. And some of you guys are like, oh man, you nuked yourself, bro. Like, what are you doing? But from a class standpoint, I'm actually putting myself in a category where I am more respected. I look more mature. I look more professional. You can say what you want. It doesn't even really come to attracting women at this point, because signaling higher class can not only help you attract higher quality women, but also it can help in your professional areas of your life. It helps literally with everything. And this comes down to a concept which I live by, and that is dress how you want to be addressed. Simple as that. If you wanna come off cool, swaggy, trendy, high sex appeal, then do understand that comes with its cons. But if you do want a more professional, more mature sort of look, attract higher quality in every area of your life, have people take you seriously, then once again, that really comes down to your look. And I talk about something called points of leverage a lot, and I've realized that your style, so our dress, as I said it before, and also our quality is a form or a point of leverage that you can present on your dating app platforms. So when I talk about quality, I'm not only talking about the resolution of the picture, I'm talking about how that picture is presented overall. The lighting, the pose, the resolution. Is it a selfie? Is it a mirror pic? Like, all these little nuances, if increased, can actually help your points of leverage, thus present a higher class and a more competent image. Now, speaking of image, obviously I'm pretty fit. I go to the gym all the time. And as a fit guy, sometimes you'll have the tendency to want to showcase yourself extreme sex appeal ways. So I'm talking about being shirtless, flexing. I've done it before. Yes, I got tattoos too. So I have signs of extreme sex appeal. You actually don't want to do this. Why? Because you attract women who are into and are attracted to high signs of extreme sex appeal. Keep in mind, you can still show sex appeal in a classier way is what I'm trying to say. But for you to have 2-3 shirtless pictures on your dating app profile, no. You're gonna attract women who simply just want casual sex, honestly, if I'm being real with you. You're gonna attract women who purely focus on the sexual aspect, and that's their main attraction trigger. And for that reason, these women tend to be easier to sleep with, but also these women tend to be lower quality, lower class. It is what it is. Think about it this way. A woman in a bikini or showing off her skin versus a woman who still has curves, but she shows it in a more classy or flattering way. She's wearing a dress that insinuates her curves, not showing a lot of skin. She's wearing things that overall insinuate her frame and her body. And you can still tell she's sexy, she's fit, she has a nice body, a nice butt, boobs, whatever it may be, but she's not going out her way to prove it and show it to you. Now, this only matters if you want more of a long-term dating strategy. And for that reason, I assume you want to attract higher quality women. Once again, if you're just trying to get a quick lay on a Wednesday night, Friday night, then by all means, keep posting your shirtless pictures. But do know, it also might turn some women off. Now, going back to the fishing analogy, if we go to the pond in our backyard versus the ocean, where are we more likely to actually catch a big, attractive fish? Even if we're using the same bait, right? We're more than likely gonna go in the ocean because that's where the big fish is. That's where the higher quality fish is. A lot of you guys are still fishing in ponds, trying to catch high quality women. It's not gonna happen that way, man. So from an online dating perspective, I found that Hinge tends to have really good quality as long as there's an attractive bait, because Hinge has an algorithm where it's gonna looks match you. They're gonna pair and match you with people they feel are best for you when it comes to a compatibility standpoint, but also a look standpoint. So it's kind of both. Whereas Tinder, I've seen results on Tinder. I've met a few high quality women on Tinder, but I never expect it. So with that being said, keep in mind the location of where you're casting your reels at, whether it be online dating or even in real life. I like to compare dating apps to bars and nightclub scenes sometimes too. Tinder's like a dive bar. Bumble is like the club with the dance floor that's decent. And Hinge is like the place where you gotta pay cover, at least for men. Now keep in mind there are other dating platforms where they actually require men to pay and women can come in free. I have no experience with these ones, but the only problem with those is that it tends to attract gold diggers. For example, seeking arrangements. All these things probably could work and have higher quality women, but they're just sort of expecting the man to already come together, have money, thus the intentions usually aren't the best. Another platform that's pretty good too is Coffee Meets Bagel. This one's kind of similar to Hinge, just a different vibe. It's gonna have a lot less volume though, so you can try those platforms out. Now remember when I said I want you to have standards for yourself? This isn't only for just a mental thing or when you go into an interaction, but also as you're swiping. And I don't want you to swipe if she has any of these pictures. Of course, the bikini. If she has more than 2 bikini photos, no. She's seeking attention. This is more than likely a low quality woman. Also, keep in mind, younger girls tend to be more naive and clueless on how to represent themselves in a high class or high quality way. You might find that older women, so ages 25 to 28, are more likely to be more intentional about how they're presenting themselves, even through their conversation. I mentioned this before, but if her tongue is out, that means she is showing you what she usually does in her free time, and that is on her knees catching something, if you know what I mean. It's not a cute little pose. This is an innuendo letting you know, like, hey, I might swallow your kids on the first night. Once again, this is fun for a good time, but if you want somebody serious, if you want something high quality, then we want to avoid stupid shit like this. Also, partying girls, of course, if she has a bottle in her hand, out with friends with a tongue out, combining all this shit, then yeah, low quality, more than likely easy to sleep with. And one last thing I'll mention too is actually surgery. If she has BBL, I wouldn't say a boob job because a boob job can be classy, but if she has like an obnoxious BBL to where it's like obvious, like yeah, you got your ass done, you got your lips done, you got your waist cinched in, then yeah, more than likely these girls are low quality once again, because they crave and want male validation and attention, and they're usually monetizing it too. I've never seen a woman in higher class, upper class spaces who's a high quality woman in all aspects, and she has like a humongous BBL. I have not seen it. Going to Miami once again, you guys will see this all the time. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Also, keep in mind your dating strategy, because I remember a time where I would literally not go out on a date. If she wasn't coming over to my place on the first date, I would stop talking to her. Now, in hindsight, it made sense because my dating strategy at the time was purely casual sex. I just wanted a rotation, I wanted some flings, I don't want nothing serious. And so I was seeking out and using that as a filter to almost attract low quality women who I know would be easy to sleep with. But if I was trying to attract a higher quality woman, I would change my dating strategy a little bit. I would probably still try to invite them over. Now use that as a filter to sort of move them into boxes. Guys actually do this subconsciously with women who sleep with them on the first date. You might think she's high quality, but then she sleeps with you and then you start questioning yourself like, should I actually just keep this girl as a friends with benefits? Like, is this a high quality girl? You know, there's nuances with this, and I do have my own personal opinion on if a girl's high quality or high class if she sleeps with you on the first date. To be honest, I feel like I got a bit of game. I know how to physically escalate. You know, I can make a woman want to sleep with me. But even when I look back on it, the girls who I've kept around the longest, the girls who have actually turned into my girlfriends, none of them slept with me on the first date. None of them. Like maybe the second or third, but never the first. You know, I've had girls where they've literally have given me head and swallowed my kids on the first date and expect a relationship. And I'm like, come on, man, your actions are not aligning with who we say we are. So for you guys too, I want your actions to just align with what you want. Don't leave with the casual sex strategy because you're only going to attract low quality women. Remember, you get what you seek. So if you're looking for easy, you're simply going to get easy. Now that you know how to attract more higher quality women, if you want my personal help to actually implement all these strategies we talked about, I'll leave a link down below for my digital Romeo coaching, where I'll actually take you by the hand and show you all these processes. We'll audit your Instagram profile, your dating profiles, and I'll show you exactly what it takes so that you can actually transform your dating life. But if not, be sure to watch this video next where I give warning signs on the fact that you're actually dating a low quality woman as we speak. So be sure to watch that video next.